let's analyze a trap called the Cambridge Springs. Now, this trap comes out of the Queen's Gambit Declined, and it usually is played against more junior players. And let's see, d4 and d5, c4, e6, knight to c3, knight to f6, bishop to g5, and knight b to d7, and c takes d5. So white plays the exchange variation and take back, and now it looks like this knight on f6 is pinned to the queen, which, yeah, it is. And that means that this pawn is left hanging. So, knight takes d5. However, that was the worst possible move, because after knight takes d5, this knight isn't really pinned. The knight can actually just simply take back. And now, white might be thinking, want a free queen, let's just take it. So white is now down a minor piece. And so, he has to take the queen. And bishop to b4 check, and the only thing that there is to do is interpose with the queen. And after bishop takes, king takes d8, black is actually up an entire minor piece. So that is the basic Cambridge Springs trap. Let's see where black went wrong, or white went wrong. So white went wrong by taking with the knight. Instead, the right move is e3. This is the safe and standard move, and it usually follows with something that looks like this, most likely. This is actually a very standard position for the Cambridge Springs. So this is what you want to aim for, and it's much better. Now there are a few other types of sublines, let's call them, that can come out of this, and these are actually played in a few games. There's 2 of them. So they're just more variations to the same trap. However, they're just a few different things that you can come out if you don't fall for the trap right away. Like, let's say you don't play the exchange variation and you don't fall for the trap, and let's say you get something like this. And queen to c2, pretty standard. Knight to e4, and obviously that's attacking the bishop, and bishop to d3. So at first it seems like nothing can go wrong. You're just attacking the knight. If the knight takes the bishop, the knight will take the knight back. It'll be nice and equal. However, the trick is knight takes g5, the knight takes, things are looking good until d takes c4. Suddenly, black is attacking the bishop and the knight, and after something desperate like knight takes f7, black wins a minor. So that's just another thing that can come out of it. And one more to watch out for. Again, you do not want to fall for this as white. So you don't want to play maybe you don't want to play the exchange variation at all. You can, it works, sure. But in these variations, it comes out of not playing the exchange. And it still gets a decent trap. So this is again a more standard position in this opening. And so take, knight takes, a3. This is occasionally played with the idea of playing b4 later. It's not bad at all. Knight to e4, just like we saw last game. Rook to c1 to put an extra defender on the knight. Knight takes, and the obvious move, but the completely wrong move, is rook takes c3. The right move is actually the pawn takes, if you're going to take with anything. And this is because after the rook takes, which obviously it seems good, the bishop wins the a-pawn. As you can see, the rook is pinned. And if this pawn takes, black wins a rook. So knight to d2, breaking the pin, and now black will win this pawn. And now rook to c2, getting out of there. And this is obviously a struggle for white. And let's, something after bishop to c3, bishop to d3, and take, rook takes, pawn takes here, and bishop takes, and now the queen can come over here. And you're going to end up with a pretty good endgame. As you can see, black has the entire queen side to himself. He has 2 passed pawns in a chain of 3, so obviously has a queenside majority over there. And it's going to be a very favorable endgame for black. And so these are just some things that you need to watch out for as white. Obviously, don't fall for this. Just don't, please. If you do end up playing the exchange variation, you can. Just don't take with the knight. Just leave it, play e3, and go into a normal Cambridge Springs variation, as so.